Hey everyone, it's Susan Jones and welcome back to my Sunday Spotlight. If you don't know by now, every single week I upload a brand new video with a fun game or activity that you can take and use in your classroom right away. Even though the world is a little crazy right now, I looked outside my window and saw that it was a beautiful spring day, so I thought I would go ahead and share a fun and pretty simple activity to do for Earth Day, which is coming up on April 22nd. So in this video, I'm going to share some reading recommendations, a fun craft, and some activities you can do to get your kids excited about Earth Day. Let's go. Now for today's activity, we are going to be focusing on trees. I'm going to go ahead and share 5 different books that I love that teach your students and your kids all about trees and why they are important to the earth. These are books I have read many times in the past and just love when you are reading to students ages like 4 through 8. The first book I'm going to share is called Tell Me Tree by Gail Gibbons. I love all of Gail Gibbons' nonfiction books, and this one is just a beautiful book that tells kids all sorts of different facts about trees. In fact, the craft that I'm going to share with you, I actually made because my first grade class a few years ago, we read this book, and then kind of on the fly, I drew up this craft to do with it. So it works perfectly with this book. Another book I love to read that teaches kids about trees is K-2 Tamed the Wind. And this book is an adorable book about this girl named Kate who goes to the top of a hill because this man's house is blowing from the wind. Everything is kind of blowing away from the wind. So she goes up to the top of the hill with a bunch of trees, and it shows the importance of trees and what they can do for us as humans as well. Another great book is Be a Friend to Trees by Patricia Lauber, and this one is just a straight up nonfiction book, and it goes through and just really teaches students about different trees. It teaches them how animals and how humans use trees. It teaches you about photosynthesis. It teaches you quite a bit about trees and why they are useful. Another book I just love reading is called Our Tree Named Steve, and this one is by Alan Zweibel. Or Zweibel, I'm not sure. I remember the first time seeing the cover of this book and just immediately recognizing the illustrator. It's the same illustrator as Stand Tall, Molly Lou Mellon, which is another book I love. But this is just a sweet book about a family and the tree that is in their backyard and kind of the journey and process that goes on with that tree. And it's hard to pick just 5, but the last one I chose is called The Tree Lady by H. Joseph Hopkins. And this is actually a true story about a woman who went to college for science, and she lived up in Northern California and just loved trees. And then when she moved to San Diego and she moved into the city life, she found that there weren't that many trees there. So she goes on this mission to make San Diego green and plant all these different trees, and it's just a really great story. I'll go ahead and link all 5 of these books down below. If you have any of these at home, or if you can get your hands on any of them, they would make for a great read aloud for you and your students to then go ahead and discuss why trees are important, what we can do to protect trees, and different things like that. Now, if you don't have access to any of these books right now, that is totally understandable. So I actually went ahead and found from the Arbor Day Foundation, they have a kids part. I think it's called Carly's Kids Corner. I'll put a little screenshot of what it looks like right here. But they have kid-friendly information on the different benefits of trees, the life cycle of trees, different types of trees and their leaves, and all sorts of things like that, that your students can go ahead, you can give them this link, they can go and explore it on their own. Now, after you've gone ahead and read any of these books or had students explore that website, they can go ahead and create this fun little craft where they are going to make their own little tree, and on each of the leaves, they're actually going to share a fact that they learned about trees from their reading. Here are some examples that my students actually did a few years ago, and I just love how they took their own creativity and they went ahead and created backgrounds for their trees, and some have the roots showing and everything. It's just a fun and creative way to share some nonfiction facts that they learned. That craft that I shared is actually free in my Teachers Pay Teachers store, so I'm going to share the link in my description for that as well, so you can grab the template. Now, if you don't want to do a craft like that, you can also just grab any piece of white paper. You can go ahead and have students paint either with watercolors or with crayons, markers, whatever they want. Have them take the time to either go outside and look at a real tree and try to recreate it on their paper, or just from their imagination, something that they learned or from one of the books you read, they can go ahead and illustrate and paint a beautiful tree. And lastly, if you have access to some trees and some nature around you that you can safely go to, then you can go on a nature walk. And for this, of course, you can just go and explore, but I would actually have my child or my students bring a clipboard and a piece of paper, and they can go ahead and kind of keep track of the different plants and different types of trees that they notice while they are on their nature walk. Since we are all home right now, I thought this would be a great activity or something fun to do that most kids can do with their parents and talk about the things around them. These science and social studies type of subjects, like the holiday Earth Day, can really make for a meaningful experience with your students and their parents at home, especially during this crazy time. I hope this gave you some ideas of something to do with your students over the next week or two, even if it is virtually, or something that you can at least pass along to your parents at home that they can do with the kids themselves. As always, if you like this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up so I know. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel and click that bell. That way you're notified of every new week's video. See you later. Bye.